Welcome back to the O Show, everything crypto and NFTs every day. I'm WendyO. I have a very, very special guest here today. I have Miss Janice Mcafee. If you guys don't know who she is, you need to stop this video now and you need to get with the program and understand who this woman is and the impact that she and her husband have had on the cryptocurrency industry in regards to Bitcoin and technology. And you guys walk the walk. Y'all walk the walk of liberty for everybody. So Janice, please do a quick intro so people know who you are, because you're a queen.
Well, thank you very much, Wendy, for having me. And hello, everybody. As she stated, I was John's wife, and John was very active in the crypto space, beginning, I think, maybe 2016, 2017, around the time of his campaigning. And he was a proud advocate for personal freedom and financial freedom. And that was kind of his purpose for being in the crypto space, because he saw an avenue for people, everyday people, to break away from the current financial slavery system that we've been living in. And his goal was just to try to bring as much attention as he could to that, and bring, as many people on board to the situation, and just try to help it become mainstream. So that's who my husband was, and that's who I am.
Well, you were ride or die though, and you had John's back. You helped keep that man safe, because he was, let's face it, and no disrespect he was one of the most hated people by the predatory public servants in the world. Let's face it.
Yeah, definitely. He definitely was. He was very outspoken about the corruption that he witnessed firsthand. And he tried to give everyone a peek behind the curtain, if you will, to let everybody know kind of what the inner workings of the system was, and try to help wake people up to the reality of it. And so, I definitely understood how much danger he was in. Or know a lot of people looking from the outside felt like maybe it was just hyperbole, but it wasn't. He was actually in danger. And fast forward now that he's no longer with us, and he died under very suspicious circumstances. Now you can, I think it just lends credence or credit to the danger that he was in every day, leading up until his death.
Well, just by speaking truth and just by exposing what was happening.
Right. Exactly.
And we all know people are happy and safe when they are complying. And anytime you do any type of pushback, they try to silence you. And that can be in different types of ways. And we see this in all different aspects of American culture and different parts of the world. And do you want to kind of tell people exactly what, because I know that you guys were traveling the world trying to obtain true liberty and safety away from some of these oppressive parties. And I want to say that the reason why John got in so much trouble is because he just didn't pay his taxes. Because taxes are a scam.
Yeah, he did. And he was, I should say, he was very, very vocal about not paying his taxes. It's something that he campaigned on when he ran for president in 2016. As well as 2020. But 2016 was really where he made that mark, where he really got an audience and people began paying attention to him. And when he actually came back from Belize, he had decided at that point that he was never going to pay taxes again. And he, would write to the IRS and inform them, I'm not paying my taxes this year, so this is where I'm living. And if you want to come and audit me or whatever. And obviously they could have come and seized his property, or garnish his whatever wages or his bank account. They could have taken money, but they never did that. And there was never any issue until he, began really advocating for privacy coins and for people to really not have to pay taxes anymore, because he felt it was unconstitutional. Well, not that he felt that way. It is unconstitutional, the income tax. And like you said, he felt it was a scam. And so we ended up leaving America because there was a secret grand jury indictment that had come down, or was going to be coming down. And we ended up leaving America before that could happen. And we went to the Bahamas because they didn't have income tax. And so we couldn't be extradited from the Bahamas because of that little loophole. So that's why we went there. And so then the plan became for them to just arrest him for anything. And so they actually had a police who tried to come onto our boat, but we ended up going into hiding over there on the island. So when that happened, we left and we went to Cuba. We hung out there for a while for obvious reasons, because, there's no cooperation between America and Cuba for any reason. But there was a lot of pressure that was being put on, I guess, the Cuban government, I would say, because there was a general who sent a representative to our boat and had John and I come in and meet with them and said that, we are happy that you're here. And, we appreciate you being here, but you can't stay here any longer. You have to leave because the U.S. are wanting us to send you back, but we're not going to do that, but you have to leave. So they gave us 72 hours to leave. And then from there, we went to the Dominican Republic, where we were immediately detained without being able to properly, enter into the country. And that was a whole debacle that I think was covered in the news as well. And from there, we left and were deported from there to the UK. And then we made it into deeper into Europe from there, and kind of traveled around and just kind of tried to lay low as best we could.
So basically, John was a target because he was outspoken. And again, you guys, I do have to say taxes are a scam and the Fed, but please pay your crypto taxes because I don't want none of you to get gaffled up. Okay. Because that's just, it's the unfortunate truth. It's the unfortunate truth. Like that is what it is. So fast forward, John was getting hounded by people because he was just very outspoken about taxes and the corruption that was happening in the United States of America. Heck, he loved America so much, he wanted to run for president and hopefully try to change things.
Yeah, he did, actually, honestly. And that's what he truthfully wanted to do. Not necessarily to win the presidency. I think he was not diluted enough to think that would happen, but he definitely wanted to use the platform to wake people up to what was really happening. I mean, and it was definitely 2016 would have been a good time for the Libertarian Party to make an impact, a real impact, with Trump running and all of that craziness. And then maybe there wouldn't still be this monopoly of the two-party system. Maybe the Libertarians could have, made more of a splash or more of a difference, where people could really feel empowered to feel as though that maybe they could make changes or see their government or their country go in a more meaningful way for everyone, for all of its citizens, and not just the top elite, No,
I definitely agree with that. So fast forward, you guys had quite an active life and were traveling quite often for safety purposes because John was very outspoken. And, people don't like to hear the truth. And generally, when you are telling the truth, you are under attack. So fast forward, you guys were in Europe, you guys were in Spain, and John was captured. And tell us what's going on now.
Yeah, so we were, we had been traveling around, Europe, and he was using his UK passport, which was no problem. He'd never had any problem being stopped or detained at all. And so what happened was he was getting ready to go and fly to Turkey to visit some friends. And this was in October. And he said that his passport had actually been flagged as stolen. And so that's how they detained him. And once he was detained, then this warrant was issued that said that he was wanted for taxes. And so that's how they were able to get him into custody. And he spent 9 months in the Spanish prison. And I spent that time, talking to lawyers, different lawyers. But by the time June 2021 rolled around, he had 5 attorneys working for him, 2 Spanish and 2 American attorneys, and plus 1 in the UK because of his dual citizenship. So he had a strong team of attorneys that were all working to see how they could, at the very least, maybe not get him out, maybe on house arrest or something like that, or an equivalency of that, or and also working on the appeal, because we all understood that they were going to grant the extradition. This was what we understood was going to happen. So it wasn't a surprise when he went to court and they said that they were going to grant the extradition, because we all understood that it wasn't going to happen the next day, the next week, month, year, even. It was going to be a drawn out sort of situation before he was actually deported or extradited back to America. So that was not a concern. And so I spoke to John twice that day, the 21st of June, 23rd, I'm sorry, of June, and of 2021. And I spoke to him in the morning just before he went to court. And then I spoke to him again in the afternoon after his court. And, his attitude was still the same. He was upbeat. We discussed about the attorney coming to see him and visit him and what the strategy was moving forward and how we were going to, fight the extradition and make, the necessary appeals. And then fast forward, I was waiting for the final call to come from him, which would have been around 4 or 5 p.m. And I actually was on Twitter and someone DM'd me and just said, oh my God, tell me this isn't true. So that's actually how I found out that John, had died. And, the days and weeks after that were just kind of a blur to me. I don't really, remember. But now, as I sit here now, still in Spain, almost 2 years now, it'll be 2 years, obviously in June, and I still don't have his remains. And I'm still waiting on the court's decision to release the full autopsy report so that I can understand what happened to John, because the information that they have given, that they've provided from the prison's investigation report and from the surveillance footage that I was able to view, it tells a completely different story of how he died. So as opposed to it being a suicide. And I'm wanting the autopsy report so that I can understand exactly what has happened or what happened to him. And so that's what's happening here now, almost 2 years now. He's still not been laid to rest, and I'm still, waiting for this decision.
I mean, John was on my show a couple times. You both were. When we did something with Hotep Jesus, and that's not John. John wouldn't harm himself. John liked to have fun. He liked to participate in sometimes a little bit of risky activities, but it was all in fun. It was never to harm himself ever. Like, I can say with 100% confidence, John wouldn't harm himself at all.
No, and the thing of it is I could, like, this is not even a situation where I'm not able to accept this. Like, if this was his decision, obviously I would have to respect that.
You were the closest to him, though. You knew him so well. You guys were literally best friends. Like, you did everything together. Like, when you're with a man or with your partner,
where they are, where they are in their head, especially because we spent so much time together. Obviously it's, I guess there's no way to say that you really 100% know anyone, but when you spend so much time together, you definitely pick up on signals. You pick up on words or different things, So
you have street smarts. So you're a very good gauge of character, and I feel that I'm the same way too. Is like, when I talk to somebody, I'm able to get a vibe. I'm able to feel like your intuition, your gut, and I feel that you're a lot better than I am at that. So the fact that you've got that, and that was your man.
Yeah. And, and I from the very beginning, I just didn't believe it, and I just wanted to get the information, and that's all that I've been trying to do. But when the information they've given me is saying something completely different than what the official story is, well, now there's a serious problem, and now I need to have all of the information. And so one of the responses from the, I guess, opposing attorney, he said that the toxicology report was enough. The toxicology report doesn't say anything. It doesn't say anything about how he died. Even I don't even think the death certificate even says. I think it just says the manner of death was suicide. But there's supposed to be like something where it says asphyxiation or something. Where it's more detailed about.
He was incarcerated. How could he take a substance? Like, I mean.
Right. Like, it's possible, obviously, right, because that's what prisons do. But to say that the toxicology report is enough to know what happened to him is ridiculous,
So what are you hoping will happen in the future? What will make you, well, you'll never be whole, but what message do you want the people to know?
I want to be able to say what I believe happened, but I want to have the autopsy report before I do that. And so, like you said, no, I will never be made whole. I'm not expecting any justice to come from this, because maybe that's because I'm just so jaded, and that's just what the state of the world is right now. but I just want to have the information so that I could share with people to let them know what actually happened here, because I think it's important. I think it matters to the memory of John and who he was and what he fought for people to understand that the official narrative that is being shared is not the truth of what has happened here.
And how can people support you in this?
Right now, so I'm working on a foundation that we're going to be announcing later this week, to kind of honor John's memory and to allow people, if they would like to, kind of keep up with what's happening here in Spain, and maybe just to kind of stay updated with that. I'm working on that, and that will be announced later this week. And just follow me on Twitter. I've not been really active just because of this is a very stressful situation for me, and I've had to take a step back just to kind of, just regroup and find some more strength to keep going, because it's really hard. It's not an easy thing to deal with this, and so I'm doing the best that I can. And you guys can follow me on Twitter. And my DMs are open if you guys want to message me and say anything of support. And I will do my best to keep people updated with what's happening here. And just any love and warmth that you can send my way would be amazing. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you for keeping that man grounded for as long as you did. I know sometimes it's a little bit hard when you've got somebody with such a strong personality, but thank you for being by his side and just being his ride or die, and just, allowing him to keep going as long as he could, because he really brought a very important message and was a pillar in the Bitcoin community and the crypto community. And John walked that walk. That's the thing, is that's when I talk to you guys about pay attention to people who are really, really putting themselves out there. John walked that walk, and he made it possible for the industry to kind of be where it's at today, and we wouldn't be where we were at without him. So Janice, thank you for coming on. If you guys want to learn more about Janice, I support her with the new foundation opening. I will have her Twitter link below. You guys can support her as far as that goes. And it's important to keep John's memory lasting and talk about him because of what he stood for. So Janice, thank you so much for coming on the show. I appreciate you, and I'm sending you love and light and abundance and healing.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.